coming back to Saturday Night Live after I had my daughter was transformative because I gave no more fucks.
So I need to have a baby.
Can I change my
I need to get pregnant.
I will get you pregnant.
Get me pregnant, please.
But that's why I was saying, oh, honey, I'll get you pregnant. Just stand next to me.
Oh, hello there. Welcome to Off Script with the Hollywood Reporter. I'm your host, Yvonne Orji, and we are here at the gorgeous Georgian Hotel in Santa Monica, California. As an actress and comedian, I am especially looking forward to today's amazing panel of 6 versatile and talented comedic actresses, some of whom I am fortunate enough to call friends. That's right, guys. They have and are continuing to pave the way for women in comedy. You're about to hear from the amazing, the illustrious Quinta Brunson of Abbott Elementary, Michelle Buteau of Survival of the Thickest, Renée Elise Goldsberry of Girls 5 Ever, Nwodim of Saturday Night Live, Maya Rudolph of Loot, and Kristen Wiig of Palm Royale. They are, as always, on the record, but just a little off script with the Hollywood Reporter. Hey, Lacey, they're all yours.
Thanks, Yvonne. Welcome to the Comedy Actress Roundtable. Let's get started. We're going to start with a question for everybody. What is the funniest or strangest feedback you've heard or read about yourself?
Oh my God. Wow. Oh my God. Do you guys read stuff about
No, I
honestly,
the first thing I can think of is I won an award for being the #1 vegetarian.
Oh.
I think I was eating a pork rib when I read it.
I lost. It was on my. Me too.
Yeah.
I think people just very surprised that they laughed.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was surprisingly funny, surprisingly witty. Surprise!
Yeah.
Isn't that a delight?
Yeah.
Yes, I'm surprised you're surprised.
Right.
I think mine is Too Short for Comfort. I think that's really funny. So it sticks out. It was someone saying that they did enjoy my work, but part of what made them enjoy it was that I was too short for comfort. And I thought that was funny.
I like that.
Yeah.
I started doing podcasts before I was on SNL, like comedy podcasts. And so people would come and find me on Instagram. And I remember one comment being like, I'm pissed off you look like this. And I'm like, okay.
What did they want you to look
I didn't follow up. You never follow up.
I think the first time when I started SNL and I learned my lesson, I do not read. I don't look, I don't.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
But when I first got on the show, you have that moment where you're like, I don't know what people are saying. And it was like, comment. And one of them just said, she's ugly.
No.
And I was like, it's okay.
We used to. Well, it was before social media,
There
were like forums
or
something.
It was, I don't even know. But they were all like
Yeah.
sentences, and then just like, she's ugly, period. And I was like,
Mine said chipmunk cheeks.
Yeah.
So
we're starting off on a real.
I mean, that's good, right?
That's high cheekbones. People are filling their
sexy.
faces.
Yeah, it's sexy.
But the crazy thing is that you can't go searching for the positive things. I don't read the positive things because I don't want to. I don't want to get sucked into that reality.
It makes you read nothing.
It makes you read nothing. But then people will tell you what the positive things are. Your family,
your grandma,
will call you
your
and
mom.
say, you got this, and they said this, and they said this. The crazy thing is when it's silent. Then you know that there are not positive things being said.
That's right.
So then you go and look for them.
Don't do that.
And, it's not good.
It's not good.
Okay, so what is the most transformative role, sketch, moment of your careers?
These are starting off real light.
Yeah.
Starting off light.
Welcome to the view, lady.
Okay.
I'll go for the martini.
Okay,
Transformative? Wait, seriously?
I mean,
I actually did think of it because I just cheered with Ego when I got to do that sketch with you because I felt like it was a moment where people who maybe didn't know me before Abbott, they realized that I could do comedy beyond. You know, you guys know comedy's a spectrum, but beyond Janine and beyond what I'd done before, getting to do that sketch with you in the car,
The
which might be
traffic altercation.
the traffic
Oh my
one.
goodness, we were just talking about that at work.
Yeah.
How amazing it was to see you come up with your own gestures for that. They didn't give you much direction for that, and that was so fun. I got to pop in and do truly one thing in that sketch, but it was so fun.
It was so fun.
You were incredible.
Yeah, and that felt transformative. So I would say that one for me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like I would guess it was maybe Hamilton. Feels like an easy guess.
Thank you for saying it so I didn't have to say it myself. Honestly, every time I get a job, whatever job it is, it's always like, And the funny thing is, whatever you do, people are like, I can't believe you could do that.
Yes.
That's true.
You know, like, I didn't know you could rap.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? Or I didn't know you were funny.
Yeah.
And now it's like, is she a serious actor? Because I just think she's funny. It's just whatever you do is what you do in people's minds.
So
and
true.
it always feels transformative to get to do anything. So when it works, it feels transformative.
I think for me, it's probably booking my first series regular on First Wives Club on BET Plus.
Yes.
Now Netflix. Ow. And you know, I knew I could do the funny, but what was really fun and important for me is that I had sex scenes. And as a size 18-20, we don't get to be sexy. We get to be lucky that someone finds us attractive. I own my sexuality, and I'm like, this is important, and we can make it funny, but it's mainly important, so let's go and get it. And so it was so amazing working with intimacy coordinators and directors who understood how I would be my most comfortable and then sexy. And that really kind of changed how people cast me and how like I saw myself, quite frankly. And I'm like, let's go. Big bitches are beautiful and worthy of love. Let's get dick down.
That's really great that you had intimacy coordinators on that. I felt like that was before the huge push for them, so that's really nice to hear.
Yeah, I mean, that's the great thing about working on an all-female-led show.
Yeah.
You know, where the showrunner is female, and you can go to your showrunner or your director who's also female and say, you know, Mother Nature might be calling next week, and I see that this thing is on the schedule for next week, so can we? And it's so nice.
Times I've been in that situation.
It's you know, it's important, and and that's why hiring us matters.
Oh, it's my turn. I mean, I think this will count. It was transformative in a personal way for me. I did a dance for Sia during the Grammys, years ago.
That was wonderful.
That
was amazing.
I was releasing a relationship that was sort of like the subtext that I had, and I didn't think I could do it. I was terrified to do it, and I wasn't wearing a lot of clothes, and I felt super vulnerable. And then after it was over, I just I released this thing, and that it was very transformative. Something shifted after that.
In yourself, which I think is even cooler than for everybody else.
Yeah, and we all know, like, being afraid to do something, you have that moment before, like, why am I doing this? Why am I just not home? And then you do it, and then you're like, oh, that's why we keep coming back a little bit.
Yeah.
I did it.
Yeah.
I did it. I just have to keep walking.
Yep.
Yeah.
That makes me want to change my answer.
I know.
No, because I remember sometimes it's not about the big job that everyone knows about. I was in a small fashion show across the street from the soap opera I was on many years ago, and nobody was in the room that knew me, which is probably why I felt so free. And I remember walking around and realizing that the more myself I was, the more I didn't care, just the funnier I was.
Yeah.
I just kind of had a connection to power that was always inside of me for the first time.
That's beautiful.
Put it on a tote bag.
You know what I'm saying? But I'm saying nobody was there. Nobody gave me an award. No, it didn't matter. But it was the same thing. I just remember being like, oh,
Yeah.
this is where it is.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
Thank you.
First I was gonna say SNL, I'm like, duh. And then I was gonna say post SNL. But then I was gonna say Bridesmaids, but then I was gonna go back to like
Say them all.
It's different, right? Like transformation is different. Like for me, coming back to Saturday Night Live after I had my daughter was transformative because I gave no more fucks. That was different for me because I cared so much and I was putting so many things in front of me that were not serving me. And so I was wasting a lot of time worrying about what other people thought and doing the right thing and being a good girl and being a good student and being a good daughter and working hard at SNL and writing my sketches and then I was like, this is all fluffy, light, nice things.
Yeah.
And it took that for me. That's not like the road for everybody, but that's what got me there, you know? And I had to be shaken out of the grip I had on.
Yeah.
You think the shaking was the fact that you were another
I had to
person?
stop being selfish.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I need to have a baby.
Can I change my
I need to get pregnant.
I will get you pregnant.
Get me pregnant, please.
But that's why I was saying, honey, I'll get you pregnant. Just stand next to me. But that's what I'm saying. Like, that's not what I mean for everyone because we all know that the road to motherhood is not for every woman. And it's also not easy for every woman and sometimes not possible for every woman or not destiny. So it's not to say like the universal like get kids. Like it's not like that's how you say it, right?
Yeah. Because then you will transform.
I'm gonna get Kim.
That's what shook it out of me. But Bridesmaids was also transformative, not just because people saw it and received it well. It was transformative because it was the first time I got to enjoy making a movie that was funny and have fun with people that I thought were funny. I felt like that was the first time we got to do that. I didn't have experiences like that before. We would have fun and play at SNL, but it's rare to get to work and look at each other and say, this is really funny, or I'm having fun, or laugh with each other. That was transformative too.
Yeah, it was the Brooklyn Bowl. I saw your group.
Oh,
Princess. That was transformative for me. Because I'm like, you don't have to do straight up stand up. You could do whatever you want and live your truth on stage. And so you love what you do so much that it affected me. And I was like, I can think outside the box.
I had such a similar experience watching Amy and Tina's show in Vegas because they were just up there fucking around.
Yeah.
And I loved every minute of it. And they brought out Rachel. It was my Super Bowl. It was my Super Bowl. You know, I'm with a bunch of other comedy girl nerds. I'm drunk. I'm like, let's go, Rachel! It was so crazy, but it was so inspiring that, you know, okay, we don't have to be like in the trenches forever. Like they just represented a sort of freedom to me that I hope to obtain someday. Because right now I'm in the shackles of the shackles.
You went straight to shackles. But you're talking about being deep in it. And I think that was one of the things that I was thinking about in terms of transformative is that experience, time, appreciation of what you do, which is what life gives you when you do something for a long time, will give you that. So that is coming. Because you are working. Hard. And that's like when you're in the middle of it, it feels like it's going to be like this forever.
Yeah, man.
And being able to enjoy it, appreciate it, and exactly what you picked up on with Amy and Tina's show is like watch people having fun and appreciating what they've got.
And each other. Like
That's-
watching people enjoy each other.
The best.
And that's coming.
What beautiful answers. I'm like, I have to go
I
last.
know.
Because I don't have a baby.
I kind of regret bringing that up. Because it's not universal.
No, I know, and I feel like you are being like, hey, I want to be clear that it's not necessarily a path for every woman, and I'm not saying that that's the thing that's going to transform a woman's experience. I feel like you're so clear on that. I just want kids. So, I'm just like, but I mean, like, so much of what you said, and we kind of had a conversation, the three of us had a conversation in December. I mean, your voice has been in my head for weeks now because I've been just thinking about you going, when I stopped giving a fuck, it's like when it started to feel great and truly just felt like play. SNL, the schedule is so intense. And we are in such a grind that when we have weeks off, such as this one, I like pop out and I'm like, what did I just do?
It's another world.
It truly is another world. And I'm like, what just happened to me? And how do I regain my personhood? And so everything you said was so meaningful to me then. It's meaningful to me now. The thing that felt so transformative for me, is an SNL sketch. Ironically, getting to do Lisa from Temecula the first time was so fucking fun. Yeah. It was so much fun, and people who know me in my personal life or people who have listened to me be insane on podcasts are like, that's the most her thing I've seen her do on the show. And I go, 5 years. And some people go, you should write more things like that. And I go, baby, if you knew how the process works. It don't work that way. That week was sort of like, I'm at my wit's end. Fuck it. I got 7 hours of sleep on a writing night, which I don't think I had ever done. And I felt like, ooh, this is bad. But I was like, I've done everything. I work really hard. I'm really diligent. And Lauren's always telling me, audience doesn't care who works the hardest. And I go, that's pissing me off.
True in general.
Yeah, it's true. Right? And I kind of surrendered to the process. I did not write on that sketch. And that's like one of the first things that was a real moment for me at the show that I didn't even write on. And then the night of, we didn't think the sketch was going to go because it was bumpy at rehearsal. And when Tom Broker, who's our wardrobe guy at SNL, came by and was like announcing in the hallway, like, we're doing Lisa, get dressed for Lisa. And I kind of was like, really? Okay. It's the last sketch of the night, whatever. And I was getting to improvise because the chair wasn't supposed to fall. And I was like, I'm getting to do the thing that I do. That I love so much. I'm so passionate about improv. So I was like, this was so fun and liberating. And I could not have planned for it. I could not have worked for it. I just had to play. So that felt very good to me.
Well, sometimes I get in my way all the time. So it's in your case, it sounds like forcing yourself out of those patterns is obviously what was transformative, and sometimes the most transformative periods are the most painful, or coming out of the hardest things. So I get that.
Yeah.
Michelle, I have heard you say that you're grateful to Netflix for, and I'm going to quote you here because it's too fun. No. Believing in a bitch. Because I've been tap dancing for multiple networks for a good while, and my knees are tired.
Accurate.
I didn't know you could tap dance with your knees.
I've been tap dancing for the patriarchy for a good while, and my knees are tired, but fish oil helps.
Noted. What do you think the sort of pivot was about, where all of a sudden it was, yes, we accept you and your ideas and this vision?
Auditioning for multiple networks that have different types of comedy, chasing that for a good decade felt like I was also chasing the wrong person to be with. And I was constantly trying to be whatever they needed. And then I'd do one for me at the end. And that's how I always got a call back. But the job would always go to somebody who was well known or had more followers because everything's an algorithm or whatever it was. And so I was always the bridesmaid, LOL, for so long. And I couldn't understand why, because I was doing everything I was supposed to do. I did everything I practiced. And, I'm a fun person on set. I like food trucks. I'm like, what is it? What do you do? I'm dynamic. I'm charming. I want to know your inner child. And something really shifted when I realized I wanted to have kids and how hard that was. And I started doing IVF, and then I was traveling myself in a middle seat for a chemistry test. And then I'd have to get a note from the doctors to bring these needles for the IVF to put them through security. And then I'd have to go put progesterone suppositories up my coochie, wash my hands, go shake the casting director's thing, hope it's not coming out in my pants. How's everyone doing? Oh, this is great. Do one for you. Did it, started crying at the end. It doesn't say you're supposed to cry. I know, it's a choice. Because I was so outside of my body trying to really make something else work in my life that was so hard, and I was going through so much, and I wasn't allowed to say anything because I was still supposed to be happy clown. That's kind of when I started booking. When I stopped really giving a fuck because I didn't have the bandwidth to. I literally had to leave and go cry and then figure out a good waterproof mascara because she was a mess. She was a mess. But the great thing working with Netflix is that there's so many different divisions, and I love to host. I have a news background because my college professor told me I was too fat to be on camera when I told him I wanted to be a journalist.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, I hope he has a Netflix password, or he might be dead. And so I did production instead. And so I loved hosting, and I love acting, and I love stand-up. And so I just have license to do me, but I really didn't even understand that I had license to me. I thought I was doing me, but my body and the universe was like, no, bitch, you know, have several seats. And so, you know, after, you know, 5 years of IVF and some losses, you know, we welcomed twins via surrogacy. Yeah, and that made me just so like, when I say thankful, I mean like, I am thankful to be in traffic with these kids. I am thankful like for every single moment. Like it feels like nobody can yuck my yum.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And when people are going through some shit, especially like on set, I'm like, please go take 10 minutes, take 20 minutes, gather yourself. I understand. You want a drink? I got some rosé.
Renee, I've heard you tell a story where you go home, you go to church, and there is a reverend who lists off all of your credentials and then introduces you.
Yeah. So,
And you are flabbergasted.
Yes.
Why?
So it's 2005. I was starring on a soap opera, and I was in a Broadway show, The Color Purple.
Heard of it.
And the first one. So I went home to visit my dad, and we were at church, and then the reverend started saying, "We have a guest in the house. Oh, saints! Today," and then he started, you know, going on this list of this great, wonderful, and she did this and she did that, and I'm looking around like, who is in the house when I'm here? Like, I'm so excited. And at the very end, he says, "Ron Goldsberry's daughter, Renée Goldsberry," and I'm shocked. Because, I mean, he literally said everything I was doing, but I didn't recognize myself. Whoa. Because the year I had 2 very painful miscarriages. One was in the second trimester. It was terribly emotionally painful. I mean, like, it was just so much that had gone on in that year. And so I stood up and I was like, "Thank you," you know, and I sat down. But what I realized is that people don't do anyone a service in this world by reading these bios that are not representative of who we are. To tell, you know, Renée Elise Goldsberry, she's a Tony winner, and like, this is how they say these things to introduce you. But it really isn't who you are. And quite honestly, it's not the most valuable part of who you are.
No, that's what they want you to be.
What's most valuable about me are the things that I survived. Like, I'm super excited to hear, oh, you guys might want to have kids. I got stories, she got stories. Like, I'm pretty sure you can figure out how to win a Tony. But what you might not know is how you keep going when you are trying to do 2 things at the same time. You have this many years, you think, to make it in your career, and you have this many minutes to have a baby. How am I going to do this? We got answers. I mean, maybe not answers, but we got experience. And so I just felt so strongly, we have to do a better job of telling the world who we are. I'm so grateful for opportunities like that, because I sit down at a table like this and I'm looking around, I'm like, oh my God, my publicists are killing me. I finally get to sit with these powerful women. They're like my heroes, right? And why am I here? Like, no one wants to hear about the imposter syndrome, but I tell myself when I walk out here, can I please find something to say that really is representative of what matters? You know what I mean? Like, nothing else matters but finding ways to connect to each other that, like, just help us along the journey.
I hear myself saying back to my kids sometimes, you have to tell people who you are. You mentioned it earlier in terms of work about whether, you know, sometimes you're showing your dramatic side and people think, oh, that's who you are now, or, oh, we didn't know you could be that. You didn't know I could be a human being that had more than one feeling, because people want you to be who they want you to be.
Or how they know you, like that one thing. And usually that thing they introduce you with is like kind of the first thing you did a long time ago.
And I know in my experience of being an other forever from the beginning, I had to tell people who I was. I had to figure out who I was.
I got to keep figuring it out.
And I was just going to say that. And I still figure it out. But for right now, for today, I have to let people know. Because people love to make assumptions.
And you know, and we want to preserve our humanity. And when people make those assumptions, it strips your humanity from you, which also takes away your ability to be an artist, which is ultimately why I think all of us are here. This is an art form, a craft, something that we wake up and, you know, you you just do, and you can't not do it. I've known who I am for a very long time. So it got interesting to be thrust into a spotlight and then people telling me who I am. And I'm like, you actually like don't know. And thank you for supporting me. Thank you for your love. But like, I might do some different shit tomorrow.
Right.
Yeah.
And you might not like it. And that's okay too. Right. But I do need you to show up and watch Abbott Elementary. You know, really shit about like
People are doing that
do
too.
you know what I mean? And I like that. That makes me feel like I'm doing a good job. But I think it strips the humanity, especially of women, just because we are supposed to be so many. Someone, I think Donald Glover recently described it as like, it's high school to people, and it's like, you're the this girl, you're the that girl, you're the that girl, and that's how they see you in their heads.
Right.
And if you get outside of that box, they almost get violent
Yeah,
towards
they're
you.
like,
What are you doing?
What are you
Trying to be
doing? That's
something else.
not
And I go, well, this is part of who I am.
who I am.
Well, don't forget, being on television, we live in people's bedrooms.
Yes.
They watch us from bed and the toilet.
On their phone, on the toilet.
On their phone, always
But
on
I'm
the
on the live
toilet.
side on the toilet.
we've all
and just,
done it.
just hung out for a while.
I do it. I've seen you all from the back.
We had a really good conversation in that car as well about that. That car.
People don't know about that car.
Tell us more about the
Because I was going through a tough personal time, and Quinta, you were like, how are you? And then you were like, you know, people don't realize you're going to go live tonight in a few hours, but you have to deal with that and then show up and be this.
Yeah.
And speaking to, you know, people putting you in a box or deciding what your bio is it can be so frustrating. You feel so fortunate to be able to do what you do and to be on TV and perform what you're passionate about. But I'm like, I want you to know my humanity too.
Yeah.
I am but a human walking on this planet who's doing this kooky thing, right?
Just trying to live. And that, what you people have done is insanity. Like, when I was little, I wanted to be on SNL, and then I hosted SNL. I was like, I'm so saved. Man, you guys have to show up.
You're fully immersed.
You have to show up every week on Saturday. It doesn't matter if you're having a bad day. It doesn't matter if, you know what I mean? It doesn't matter if you had a fucking miscarriage. Guess what? No one cares. You better get on that sketch and say the damn words.
Things and get that on laugh. But to your point, I got to do a college show like in February when we were on hiatus. And it was stand up for an hour. And my favorite part at the end, I got to ask the students, I'm like, anyone have any questions for me? And one girl put her hand up and was like, how do you get over a breakup? And I thought, I am so deep. And this is going to stick with me forever. I got to do my hee-hee ha-has, which I love. And I was like, a human moment. I want to hug you. And I did. I asked for permission. I hugged her. And I told her, I was like, I now know. I can give you my advice. So my hell, I can help you because
value.
you know, I'm like, I can help. And that was so meaningful to me. And I'm like, I want to be able to connect with people in that way. And I love making people laugh, but I love the conversations we've had. I love the conversation, you know? That's what makes me feel most alive.
I do go back and forth, though, because sometimes I'm like, actually, nobody talked to me. I don't know. Sometimes I'm like, actually don't know anything about me. I don't know. I just like flip-flop between
I like
what
that. Protect your peace.
Yeah.
I was reading Instagram on the toilet. Sorry, once in a while. I'm busy. I'm multitasking. And somebody asked Gabrielle Union about her skincare routine, and she was like, "Cut all the people out of your life that you don't need, and drink water. Protect your peace." I said, "Big double tap." I'm double tapping that, and I'm talking about it because that's also really good. I used to do that. I used to like want to fix it and help people all the time. And I'm like, for who? So I'm liked. So I'm a good person. Like this is. I know I'm a good person. Move on
and know your boundaries.
Yes.
Boundaries aren't easy to set. Especially, it depends on who you are, but they're not always easy.
People don't respond well to them. That's part of it. Like when even if you feel like you can set a boundary, it's like, oh, what's the reaction to the boundary going to be? I feel confident enough to set this.
That's when you see who they are.
Right. Yeah.
Kristen and Maya, you have both been in the position that Ego is in right now. I'm curious sort of what the advice you would give about, A, how to navigate a place like Saturday Night Live, but also how to navigate what comes after SNL and knowing when it is time to move on from a place like that.
That's a good question.
I don't think you can navigate it. That's how you navigate it. Like, I don't.
Everybody's different.
It's not a place, like, I got the sense of the place when I got there, and I felt uncomfortable, and I was like, oh, that's the show. And I was like, oh, the moment I feel like I belong here is when I gotta go. There's this sense of like, you have to just embrace that, like, you're not gonna figure it out. And I don't know if that's helpful.
Yeah.
It helped me because it felt like there was a math problem I wasn't getting.
Yeah, and I love math.
And there's,
I really do. I really love math.
Me too. And it's you just have to. It's so personalized. Everyone there has a completely different experience.
Well, because you also have such an expectation. It's something that's a part of your life that you've been watching, and then you get there and you think it's going to be something. An expectation usually leads to disappointment. In terms of like, so there's that. But then I remember hearing you say that you knew when it was it was time to go, when you were comfortable. I didn't know. I think I thought, oh, this is going to be the end for me. I'm going to be there forever. And then I didn't know how to navigate getting out. But at the same time, what it's given me, I mean, I'm happy to talk about SNL, and I don't work there anymore, but it's given me a foundation that has been transformative. Damn it.
I mean, listen, but like we're evolving.
Drink up when we say the word.
Transformative. But it has given me skills that I use all the time. I problem solve in a different way. I
mean, collaboration. It's
collaboration.
Like you learn how to work with people more
and also, like when people say we can't do that, I know we can.
And when they say we only have this amount of time, you're like, I can go from this costume to that in 45
Unreal.
seconds. And you tell me we have 3 minutes. That's a long time.
It's a skill set. You are learning comedy combat. And you have a skill set now that you cannot teach. It has to be learned, and you can take it with you anywhere.
Training. It is unreal. It's unreal.
And I feel it. I live for the grind and the discomfort of it all. But then, of course, you want to be pissed about it. Sometimes, like, it's uncomfortable.
Yeah.
But when you speak about expectations going in as the 7th Black woman on the cast, it was this whole, what's that experience going to be like? And I was like, I have relatively low expectations for what it's going to be. I was just like, I don't know that it's going to be great. And then moments where it feels so sweet, the highs feel so high, and then I'm like, I want to feel that. I want to feel it. Give me that drug again. I want more of that drug. And that's the thing I've been talking to myself about. There is such peace in the surrender to the process, surrender to the fact that it is a puzzle you're not really going to solve. It's not really a math equation, and that pressure and discomfort you feel is the thing.
I love this. Like, I love when, especially women from SNL get together and have real ass conversations about what those expectations are like and that schedule and, like all the things that happen to you, like before, during, and after. You know, as a stand-up comedian, 23 years doing stand-up alone, very alone. Like
The fact that they have that, it's like a sorority.
yeah, it's amazing. There is this special bond that you cannot even explain to people.
I love how how accepting and affirming you are to people that were not in that club. Because I feel like you guys are a strong gang. And you're doing a lot of wonderful things, and it seems like you go out of your way to be like, hey, I see you.
Yeah.
Hey, I got you. Hey.
I think it's because we're trained to sort of be underdogs. Like, we're the underdogs there, and then the beautiful movie star comes in and sprinkles us, and we say thank you, and then they leave. And so you have this vibe of like, it's just, I'm nothing. It's really the one that I'll make you look good. And
that's good.
also being able to jump in with new people each week.
Each week.
Every week.
I really am just fascinated by it. Because I don't know. I just think it's like the craziest thing in the world. And I grew up watching it, loving you guys. And then seeing it in person is like, unreal. You don't get enough credit, and you get credit, but none of you get enough. I don't care if somebody was on it for one season, or it's an unreal job.
I always say, don't tell yourself no before someone else tells you no.
I say that to myself. I say that so that
going.
I've said it out loud and I heard myself
like,
say it.
just get it done.
But
once you realize how the sausage is made, it's like, you might not want to, I don't want to yuck your yum. Go off and see if you want to do this.
For sure, yeah.
Quinta, I feel like you had recently talked about wanting to adapt The Guest, and you wondered whether that was something you would be able, that you would be trusted with. And you said because you're a Black woman, this is not a Black story. Is that from personal experience, or is that based on the experiences of those that came before you, and thus it was an assumption?
It was an assumption because similar to the boxes, we're talking about what you start out with or what people know you for. Because, you know, Abbott is not what I started out with.
No.
It is what people know me for, which I'm grateful. The Guest was a book I read, and I felt like I see the vision. I can adapt this. I really don't feel that way with books. I read a lot of books, and I love them. But that was one where I said, oh, man, I have the bug. I have the bug to adapt. I have the bug to, like, direct. I don't really have that bug. And people always ask it on Abbott, but I don't want to direct Abbott. I'm already doing too much on Abbott. I want to sit there and do my jobs. But that book is about a flippant, brain-birded white girl who's running around the Hamptons, and she's so naive. And I think it's so far from who I am as a person that I do wonder if it'll become a struggle to try to make things that aren't about me. Another thing that was interesting with making Abbott is it is inspired by my mom's story, but I don't believe that's what makes it good. I study comedy. I do this. It's a good comedy because I like comedy. I hope that I don't have to get caught in the trap of being the source material, because I don't want to be the source material forever. I don't think there's freedom in that. Like, if I'm supposed to keep making shows or movies about myself, that is so limiting, and it goes into what we're talking about. I don't want to keep excavating my soul to make things, and I think it has become an expectation for people of color, and it's not an expectation for white people, white men, but I think for a lot of Black women, they're like, give us your insides. And I don't want to do that anymore. If I want to make a show about a dinosaur, I want to be able to make a show about a dinosaur. And not a Black dinosaur, just like a green dinosaur, just a regular ass dinosaur.
That dinosaur could be blue.
It could be blue, but that's a thing that maybe isn't that relatable, but I feel hyper-specific is like something that I feel I experience and many other creators of color. Why do I gotta bring my trauma with my mom's?
I know,
my
but
dad's,
I had
you
a
know what I'm
manager
saying?
say, oh, your mom's story is so incredible. Like, we're gonna make a TV show that. And I was like, that's a drama I don't want to do.
I don't want to do that.
I don't want to do that drama.
You missed it.
I don't. I wouldn't even want that. I wouldn't even want to do that to my mother.
Right,
I don't think she wants her story. Like,
Right.
you know, I was
Right.
like, that's such a fascinating instinct when you've heard a bit about me. Like, we're gonna make that a show, and I'm like, it's not for consumption.
It's
It's
exactly.
just,
Because people want to see you the way they want to see you.
They kind of have an urge to like keep seeing you bleed. And I don't really want to do that with my career. I would really love to eventually make things that have nothing to do with me.
For me, it's such an honor and a privilege to be a plus-size woman writing stories about my New York with non-binary people and trans people. But I shouldn't have to have a meeting about code switching and explain to you why this Black woman who was 53 is a millionaire and a boss. But she also says the N-word. And she's also bisexual. And she's a lot of other things that you probably can't understand. But don't worry about it. Those people do exist. And so, like, just explaining that to people is so crazy.
I know sounds crazy, but like I'll sit there and watch Dune and I'm like, yeah, I want it. What is the Dune of my Rudolph's dreams? What is the like? Do I have to be so closely associated with my? Does my personal story need to be so associated with my work all the time? I really hope not, because I think that is limiting for the creative space. I think we're missing out on a lot of fun sci-fi stuff because if I walk in, they're like, tell us about being a Black woman in the industry. I'm like, I'm trying to make the next Willy Wonka. Leave me alone. But do you know what I'm saying?
Yes,
I just think it's something.
And I also
weird.
think that what's frustrating about it is that you are thinking those things and you may create something, and let's say it doesn't happen. We don't know what that project is. But I do think by doing that, it is going to find its way somewhere. We just may not reap the benefits from it. But somebody is feeling that shift. Because there are so many times where I've seen something done and think, oh, why didn't I think of it that way?
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't have to make it autobiographical.
Yeah.
But you're absolutely right. That inherent expectation is usually there.
Yeah.
And I think it's just a matter of how you deal with it. Do you ignore it?
Yeah.
Do you bypass it?
Yeah.
Do you delve into it?
Yep.
One for them, one for me.
Yeah.
And any of it.
Yeah.
And it's all correct. None of it's incorrect.
Yeah.
But everybody's correct is different.
Yep.
So what's everyone's Willy Wonka or everyone's Dune? What's the thing that you would love to do that no one's yet asked you to do?
I want to be in a heist movie.
Oh, I could see that.
Y'all see me robbing a bank?
Yeah. Absolutely.
Okay, so this is gonna sound dumb, but Bluey I know about because of my nieces and nephews.
I love Blue.
I love Bluey.
It's so nice to put on before you go to bed.
Quality
It's so
programming.
lovely.
The colors are made for dogs.
Yes.
It's so. I'm like, I
Bingo.
want like a little Bluey or just something so silly and unrelated to me, and I get to hide in the shadows. So my dream is to make like a Bluey.
I'd watch your
I
Bluey.
want that for you.
I think you will.
What's your Bluey?
What's your Dune? What's your Bluey?
I have so many unfinished projects. There are some things that I've been working on for the last 5 or 6 years that I kind of want to do before I do all the other stuff I want to do, which is I'd like to. I've been in Marvel. I'd like to circle back and have a superpower this time.
You know, what's your superpower gonna be?
I really just want to have the gift of prioritization.
It's such an adult superpower.
The kids were like, "This is the lamest person we've ever had."
but
But
I
really,
feel
I just want to know, because you know how much time we spend stressed out and worried about things that don't matter.
Yeah.
I just want to have the go to bed.
Yep.
I love it.
Which is why they're not calling. So yeah, for me, there's some unfinished things. I have a pop album of original music I want to get out.
Yes.
I have a documentary about what we were just talking about, which is, the juggle between trying to have children and trying to launch the show Hamilton. That's coming out. I have biopics that I'm working on about women who the world needs to remember and know. I feel like it's a beautiful thing to be in a place where you're like, I did this thing. I have created this show that is speaking to my tribe. And you have to get there to say the really genius thing you just said, which is, and now I want to do something else. And so where I'm at is, I want to get there.
Yeah. What I do love about this business is probably what people hate about it, is that it's unpredictable. And so I never know what's going to happen, and I love that for me. That keeps me interested. I feel like every day should be a surprise in a good way, in a productive way, however that means. And honestly, I feel like I'm doing it and I just want to do more of it. Fat, Black, brown, queer content, because now that I have these children, I just want to make sure that it happens with the arts, that I'm putting in all the allyship and comedyship and femaleship into what I do, because this is how I express myself, and this is my legacy for these littles.
What about you, Kristen?
I am so grateful to be here listening to you guys today. I can't even tell you, everything you guys are talking about is really hitting different points of my heart right now. And what you said about going out of that sort of comfort zone or the zone, I really needed to hear that, because I've been trying to write something for a while and I kind of put it away. It's not really a comedy. And I think I've been practicing how I talk to people about it in a defensive way, to say it's not a comedy, but wait, just listen. It might be cool.
Yeah.
I think because I'm writing it sort of on my own, and all of the stuff I've written has been a comedy, and people expect that from me. I'm already putting that thing in front of me of are you sure you want to do this? You don't really know how to do this. And I've been stuck with it for months and months, and it's been kind of driving me crazy. And I believe in these little moments in the universe where people connect with you. And I'm I don't know, it just feels very I have to figure out what my voice is and just put it out there and not worry about that stuff. Because the categorizing, I think, of things that we've all done, I didn't quite realize was such a blanket.
Yeah.
And
Can I
you know,
just say,
yeah.
I think it's so funny because people sometimes are like, you know, you can't do this. Even if they don't say it out loud, it's like assumed. Sometimes I feel like if you haven't done drama, they make it seem like comedy is harder. And if you haven't done comedy, they make it seem like, I mean, if you have done comedy, they make it seem like drama is hard. Whatever it is.
Yeah.
They constantly do that. And I just think it's bullshit.
It is.
It's totally bullshit, and it is so exciting for me to hear you say
out of my
on
way.
this table that you are about to write something.
Well, it's scary. I mean, even you said Dune. I was like, that's literally visually sort of this thing in my head, and it might be a little comedic, but the self-talk around it of like, how do I explain to people, are they even going to say yes? Because I've done things that are dramatic on the page that I thought were going to be dramatic, and then you get there and they're like, you can get improvised, blah, blah. And I'm like, but this is dramatic. And I've done dramatic scenes, and I've been in a screening where I do something and then people laugh, and I'm like, no, it wasn't. You know what I mean? So I don't know. I tried not to think about what I was going to say and just talk. But
I'm so excited. I also just want to say, and I said this to you upstairs, watching you do Aunt Linda at Table, okay? We've tons and tons of hosts at SNL. Everyone's wonderful. Everybody's incredible. Watching you do that at Table, and I sit 4 or 5 seats. I was like, this is an artiste. What made it so fantastic to me was the nuance in the performance, which comes from, I'm an artist first, right? And not that you need to hear it from me, but I should tell you, because I'm like, I was gushing to one of the producers. I was gushing to Heidi. I was just like, I feel like I learned something. And that is a person who is not just, I'm silly, I'm going to do hijinks and make you laugh. I was like, what made that so incredible to watch was like, you were acting. Like, yes, what you were saying was funny, but I was like, I know this woman. And we read 40 sketches at our table. And I've been there for 6 seasons and seen tons of hosts. Everybody's phenomenal. But I just remember that performance. I'm like, you can do anything.
At the comedy table. Can we talk about how if you like make someone laugh, all of a sudden all of the rest of the stuff, all the groundwork you put under is like removed.
But also, getting back to the tomorrow is not promised, and I love that every day feels different. Like this is what I'm talking. It's so amazing to be in this career and still feel crazy and nervous and anxious about something.
No,
you feel a lot. That's like, isn't that like the part?
And that's a great place. That's a place you don't wish it on yourself. But that's always a great motivational space. It is exciting.
I'm excited to see what everyone at this table is gonna not be afraid to do.
Well, all not 5 of these people are going to be in your movie. Is what they're going to do. We're going to end on a more of a lightning round. You've had a long day of work. What do you turn on your TV?
Bravo. I'm not ashamed.
You're a Real Housewives girl, right? Yeah.
Bob's Burgers.
Only Murders in the Building.
Yeah.
Queer Eye. Yes. I watch that with my girls.
You know what, honestly, it's something I've never done in my entire life. I'm doing now. It's just so pathetic that I'm saying this, but I turn on Girls 5 ABBA.
You do?
I do not watch myself. I do not watch, but I literally turn it on.
That was a good old binge for me.
Because,
That was a good binge.
it makes me, because I didn't realize until season 3 that it exists for me.
Yeah.
Only because I have been sitting there doing that show all this time, and still I come home and I question my ability to dream this ambitiously at my age. I mean, I'm doing the show about these women who are absurdly dreaming about getting back into be pop music stars after 20 years later. And then they are ridiculous. Yeah. That is there so that I remember I'm allowed to still dream.
Yeah.
You can be 50 and dream. Don't let the world tell you that it is absurd to do something new. Whatever, who cares?
Yeah. That song at the end, that what's her name song?
Which one?
What's her name in the show? I do get my
Sarah Bareilles?
Yeah, she is. That song like made me cry. Medium time? Yeah, I was like medium time.
Sarah's voice makes me cry.
Really got me.
It's about medium time. Can we just say how great it is? It was just this idea that like there is a level of fame that's right in the middle. maybe nobody knows who you are, but you got a job.
Yeah.
That actually has value and worth, and don't let anybody tell you it doesn't matter. I mean, how beautiful is that?
It got me.
Great.
All right, so what was the first thing when you get your first real paycheck? What's the first splurge?
Crab leg dinner. I took all my friends to a crab leg dinner the first time. All of my friends from Philly, who all of us were broke, dead broke, like bananas and cup of noodles every day for lunch, dinner, breakfast, whatever. And I took them all out to a crab leg dinner. And I still like to do that.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, it's beautiful. The money was spent. The money was spent.
Yeah, that's so funny. I actually
need to know that.
upgraded from an HMO to a PPO.
Yeah.
Okay.
You guys have more.
Yeah, and I bought some hair.
Yes.
This is who I
give mine back. I don't buy mine. I give it back.
that shiny shit from Amazon. Let me get that Indian.
I get it.
I marched myself into Tiffany's when I got the job at SNL, and Emily Spivey told me to. And I bought myself some gold bangles.
Yes. I love that.
See, where I bought gold jewelry too, but it was from Majorie because I was still scared.
Yes.
I was like, we don't
Yeah, I had to have a friend tell me to do it. I was scared too.
I was scared. Thinnest little gold ring.
I love that.
Yeah, it's gold.
Look close, it's gold.
I can wash my hands now, put lotion on.
This was a long time ago. Gold has really raised up significantly in value. Yeah.
Do you remember what this was?
I don't remember. I don't think I did anything. I don't. That's so sad.
You still can.
It's not too late.
Not too late. Okay, maybe
Yeah, go buy your
Think
gold
you should
earrings.
buy that island. Think about it. I bought a little island because I was scared. Yes, next to Lenny Kravitz. We lift weights in leather pants. It's really fun.
All right, what's the most used emoji on your phone?
Oh no!
That is
yes,
I use it for everything. I do.
I got this
oh,
one.
this one.
Yeah.
Mine's the laughing so hard I'm crying, so it's like sideways.
Oh, mine is the melting smiley face.
Yeah.
Because that is me.
This is so.
It is really revealing.
Yeah, this is.
Mine's the yellow heart or the ew.
The yellow heart is created based off of you doing that.
It was pretty good.
When my dad first started texting, he didn't know, he thought that was a smile, so he would text me, be like, hi, I love you.
Oh my aunt used to write LOL because she thought it meant lots of love.
Maybe it does.
Wait, why did you?
Do you have the same uncle?
I thought it was lots of love.
Oh my goodness.
Maybe you're my
until
aunt.
now.
Right.
It's not.
Mine is upside down smiley face or the okay.
Wait, what's that?
Upside down smiley face, and then praying hands is up there somewhere.
Yeah.
Chat.
In honor of Girls 5 Eva, what would you each name your girl group?
Oh.
Maybe transformation.
I can't Oh my God. You really?
I'm sorry,
Trans 5. It's actually 6, but
That's how it works.
But that's how it works.
Yeah. I'm sorry, man. You can't leave
Transformation sounds.
I still know 4. We'll talk. We'll circle back.
Oh, we can workshop it.
Wait,
You didn't ask me what I wanted to do.
Next, I know. I was gonna say. I want to hear myself.
I want to do broad.
Oh my God.
Yes, you do.
I'm looking right at you.
Oh my God.
I saw you
I'll
on
be seated.
Broadway. I saw you on Broadway. Sometimes when you see people on stage, you're like, I want to be that. I want to do that. I want to be her, know her. That's what it was.
Wow. The greatest thing
I wanna
ever
do
about
it.
having done it is like, especially Hamilton, because everybody, all your heroes came to see it. It's like the most amazing people in the world would say, I really want to do that.
Yes.
Yeah.
But it seems so scary. Can I tell you how much scarier SNL is?
Well, that's what they think.
Can I tell you how much scarier it is to do
Right.
what you guys are doing, which is starring and writing and writing and like I guess that's what's so beautiful about what you said is that you just need to know that whatever is scary, you've already trained for it, and you just don't know it. And I'm super excited. I mean, if you just have the bravery to say out loud you want to do it, it's done.
Do you know how many people are going to be calling you?
I know. I'm like, watch out! I'm like shocked it hasn't hasn't happened yet.
Yeah,
Because she hasn't said it out loud, probably.
Yeah. And everyone here is so
Watch out.
so dynamic. She knows. She did a commercial. I was like, yes, bitch, yes. Do that commercial. You better do it. And then for you, okay, so The Circle was my pandemic show.
Oh my goodness.
And my sister's like, the girl who hosts this, like, she's mad fun. And I'm like, that's Michelle Buteau. But she didn't know. So whatever. I'm saying all this to say, all of you, I think, are the most dynamic women, and you can do whatever you want. And I know we're all comedy girls, and you make people laugh, and they forget about how, like, dynamic you actually are. But look at, like, what?
Like
I
what?
really get the most dynamic.
Like what?
But I always feel that way. Every time I meet people that I'm just kind of enamored with, they're always better in person.
I love it. And on
Yeah.
that, thank you all for doing this. So we do one last cheers.
Yes.
Thank you.
Transformation. Very good. You should be a writer.
Oh, I'll try go.
I gotta say, as an actress and stand-up comic, I felt right at home with these insightful, funny, supportive, and even, dare I say, dramatic women. You know what we call that in Hollywood? Range. Well, until the next time, I'm Yvonne Orji, and this is Off Script with a Hollywood Reporter.